Okay, let me ask you something. What would you do if you had $60 million sitting in the back of your truck, and none of it belonged to you? Would you run? Would you fight? Or would you let it all go and walk away like it never happened? Because that's exactly the mess Russ and Travis find themselves in at the end of the pickup. And trust me, this ending? It's not what you think. So let's talk about it. Let's break it down, piece by piece. You see, when this movie starts out, we're just looking at two everyday guys. Russ, the older one, played by Eddie Murphy. A guy who's been through life. He's jaded, sarcastic, kind of over it all. And then you got Travis. Pete Davidson. Young, naive, still figuring things out. The two of them? Total opposites. But that's what makes them work. Because when chaos hits, they don't run. They somehow survive it. Enter Zoe. Played by Keke Palmer. Sharp. Fast. Dangerous. She doesn't ask for help, she takes it. She hijacks their truck, pulls them into a casino heist, and before they know it, Russ and Travis are deep into something way bigger than they ever imagined. And that's where the fun begins. Because you think it's just a comedy, right? Just laughs and chaos. But the pickup? It flips that on you. Suddenly it's about trust. About survival. About choosing who you are when everything's falling apart. Now here's where it gets good. Zoe's escape plan? Flawless. Like, next level. She's been working on this for 2 years. 2 years. She has backup cars hidden in scrap yards. A private plane waiting at an airstrip. Fake IDs. Alternate routes. She isn't just winging it. She's playing chess while everyone else is still figuring out checkers. And when the cops close in, when it looks like it's over, you almost believe it is. But no. She disappears into the night, and you realize, she planned every second. But here's the twist. She didn't do it alone. Russ and Travis? They let her go. And that's the part that hits you. Because all this time, you think they're victims. Just poor guys caught in the middle. But when it mattered most, they chose. They looked at her, saw the person behind the crime, and said, you know what? Go. Be free. Live your life. That right there? That's what makes this ending so powerful. It's not just about the money. It's about redemption. It's about humanity. And yeah, maybe that sounds cheesy. But look closer. Russ? He's not a perfect guy. He's grumpy, rough around the edges, but he has heart. And Travis? He's the kid trying to make something of himself. At the start, he's just trying to be a cop. But by the end, he's something else. He's someone who's seen the gray area. Who's realized not every crime is just black and white. Let me break it down for you. These are the key moves that made the ending what it is. Zoe escapes using a plane she set up weeks ago. Russ and Travis stall the cops, buy her time, and never give her up. She leaves, not just with the money, but with her freedom. Later, Travis calls her. Not to chase her. Not to catch her. But to connect. She answers. She's in Bali. And she wants him there. They send money to Russ. With a note. Just initials. Like a final thank you. Now you tell me. That ain't closure? But let's go deeper. Why did they let her go? I mean, Zoe literally forced them into a heist. She threatened them. Put them in danger. So why didn't they turn her in? Why didn't they take the deal and walk away heroes? Because people are more than just what they do. Zoe wasn't just a thief. She was a daughter. A friend. A woman trying to survive in a world that took too much from her. Her father died unfairly. She was chasing justice in the only way she knew how. And yeah, maybe it was illegal. Maybe it was messy. But Russ saw that. Travis saw that. And they made a choice. It's kind of beautiful, honestly. Because it's messy. And that's what life is. Messy. Complicated. You don't always get a clean ending. But you get one that feels right. And that's what the pickup gives us. An ending that feels earned. And speaking of endings, how about that little love story? Zoe and Travis. It sneaks up on you, doesn't it? At first, it feels like a joke. A crush. But then it becomes something more. A connection that cuts through all the madness. And when Travis finally remembers her number. When he calls, and she picks up. That's when you realize, she left the door open for him, not just to join her, but to start something real. Away from the chaos. Away from the noise. That one little note they send Russ with the money? It says everything. It says, we made it. And we didn't forget you. And it's not just about the cash. It's about closure. About gratitude. About the bond they formed in the worst of situations. And let's not forget about the consequences. You'd think, after robbing a casino, crashing vehicles, almost getting people killed, they'd be in jail, right? But nah. Travis predicted it. They were forced into it. The law sees it that way. Russ starts over, buys a hotel. Travis continues training for the police. They got a second chance. And that, my friends, is rare. You ever feel like you're stuck in something you didn't sign up for? Like life handed you a mess and said, figure it out? That's Russ and Travis. That's all of us, really. We get thrown into situations. We meet people who change everything. And sometimes, we do things we never thought we'd do. But in the end, it's about what you choose when it matters most. Do you hold on? Or do you let go? The Pickup isn't just a comedy. It's not just a heist movie. It's a story about choices. About unlikely friendships. About the line between right and wrong being way blurrier than we think. And honestly, it's about hope. The idea that even if everything goes sideways, you can still find something good. A friendship. A second chance. A new beginning. So if you've watched The Pickup and you're sitting there thinking, wait, did Zoe really get away with it? Yeah. She did. But it wasn't just about getting away with money. She got away with her life. Her freedom. Her truth. And she didn't burn every bridge on her way out. That's what makes her win so satisfying. Now, think about this. What if Zoe had been caught? What if the cops reached the airstrip a minute earlier? What if Russ had made a different call? This whole story could have ended in tragedy. A shootout. Jail time. Broken lives. But it didn't. It ended with choice. And that's more powerful than any twist. There's something rare about a movie that lets its characters walk away. That trusts the audience to understand the gray. Because life isn't always about justice in the way we think it is. Sometimes it's about grace. About letting someone go not because they deserve it, but because you see their pain. You understand their fight. And that's what Russ did. He saw Zoe. The real Zoe. Not the thief. Not the liar. But the woman carrying a weight no one else could see. And instead of holding her down, he lifted her up. Quietly. In his own way. That's powerful. Same with Travis. He could have been bitter. He could have said, she used me. She played me. But instead, he picked up the phone. And that simple act? That changed everything. Because it meant the door stayed open. Not just for Zoe. But for him. For a future that looked different. Brighter. You know what I think the real message of The Pickup is? It's this: you don't have to be the hero to do the right thing. You just have to be human. Honest. Brave enough to make the hard call when it counts. And maybe that's why this movie hits so hard. Because it reminds us of what's possible when we stop judging people by their worst moments. So yeah, Zoe got away. And maybe she shouldn't have. But maybe she needed to. Maybe that was the only way this story could end. If this story hit you like it hit me, then you know the deal. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a comment and tell me what would you have done in Russ and Travis' shoes? Would you let Zoe go? Would you follow her to Bali? Or would you turn her in? This is what I love about movies like this. They spark something. They remind us that even in chaos, there's heart. Even in crime, there's compassion. And even in endings, there can be new beginnings. You're not just watching. You're feeling it. Living it. So stay tuned, because we're just getting started. And hey, if nobody's told you this today, you matter. Your choices matter. Your story matters. And just like in The Pickup, sometimes the biggest twist is discovering who you really are when the pressure's on. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.